This module explores strategic approaches to increasing youth employment in agriculture and agribusiness, with a focus on unlocking the economic potential of the youth demographic through innovation, entrepreneurship, agritech, and policy reform. It critically examines employment challenges, value chain engagement, access to productive resources, and enabling ecosystems necessary for youth inclusion in agricultural transformation. By the end of this module, you will be able to 1. Analyze structural and socio-economic barriers to youth employment in agriculture. 2. Identify high-impact strategies for promoting youth-led agribusiness. 4. Examine the role of technology, training, and finance in enhancing youth employability. 5. Evaluate public-private partnerships, government initiatives, and global best practices for youth integration. 6. Develop inclusive frameworks to create sustainable youth employment in agriculture. Understanding the youth employment crisis in agriculture. Youth represent a major portion of the global population, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, where over 60% of the population is under 25. However, they face high unemployment and underemployment rates, largely due to declining interest in farming due to its association with poverty and hardship, limited access to land, finance, markets, and training, poor infrastructure, and rural neglect, a mismatch between academic training and labor market needs, social exclusion from agribusiness decision-making and investments, opportunities for youth in agribusiness. While traditional agriculture may seem unappealing, agribusiness offers diverse employment opportunities. A. Primary production, crop farming, livestock, aquaculture, horticulture, opportunities through climate-smart and mechanized agriculture. B. Value chain integration, processing, packaging, storage, distribution, agro-logistics, e-commerce platforms, and food delivery services. C. Agri-services, mechanization, irrigation services, drone operations, extension services, input distribution, financial intermediation. D. Agritech and innovation, development of mobile apps, e-extension, smart sensors, AI for precision farming. Youth-driven innovations in ICT for AG, information and communication technologies for agriculture. Constraints: limiting youth engagement, limited access to finance, lack of credit history and assets prevent loans, insecure land tenure, young people rarely inherit or purchase land. Skills: gap, lack of vocational and entrepreneurial skills. Policy exclusion, youth often left out of national agricultural policy and programs. Perceived risk, youth ventures are seen as unproven and unstable. Strategic interventions for youth employment. A. Entrepreneurship, promotion, youth entrepreneurship training, incubation hubs, mentorship programs, business competitions, startup capital access, pitch fests. B. Agri-technical and vocational education, ATVET. Curriculum reform to include modern, hands-on agriculture. Integration of agribusiness and ICT skills into technical schools. C. Access to land and finance, special youth land allocation schemes. Youth-friendly financial products like microleasing, asset-based loans, and group lending. D. Digital agriculture, training youth on digital tools, drones, remote sensing, mobile apps. Mobile money and e-wallet systems for financial inclusion. E. Policy and institutional reform. National youth and agriculture policies. Inclusion of youth in agricultural governance structures. F. Public-private partnerships, PPPs. Corporate investments in youth entrepreneurship initiative. Collaborations between governments, donors, and NGOs. Strategic interventions for youth employment. A. Entrepreneurship promotion, youth entrepreneurship training, incubation hubs, mentorship programs, business competitions, startup capital access, pitch fests. B. Agri-technical and vocational education, ATVET, curriculum reform to include modern hands-on agriculture, integration of agribusiness and ICT skills into technical schools. C. Access to land and finance, special youth land allocation schemes, youth-friendly financial products like micro-leasing, asset-based loans, and group lending. D. Digital agriculture, training youth on digital tools, drones, remote sensing, mobile apps, mobile money and e-wallet systems for financial inclusion. E. Policy and institutional reform. National youth and agriculture policies, inclusion of youth in agricultural governance structures. F. Public-private partnerships, PPPs. Corporate investments in youth entrepreneurship initiatives, collaborations between governments, donors, and NGOs. Programs that prioritize women and youth registrants. D. Community engagement and cultural change, working with local leaders and gatekeepers to change harmful gender norms, educating men on the benefits of shared decision-making and land ownership. E. Collective action in women's cooperatives, forming agribusiness associations, input buying groups, and processing clusters that empower women and youth collectively. Measuring impact and ensuring sustainability. Indicators, job creation numbers, business survival rate, income improvement, increased value chain participation, sustainability factors, access to markets and infrastructure, regulatory stability and access to innovation hubs, continued mentorship and professional networks. The role of youth as change agents in agriculture. Young people bring energy, creativity, and tech-savvy approaches to solve agricultural problems. They can disrupt traditional farming with sustainable models, build bridges between rural agriculture and urban food systems, create green jobs and reduce rural-urban migration. Why this module matters. Youth unemployment is both an economic threat and opportunity. When empowered, youth can transform agriculture into a driver of inclusive growth, food security, and national development. But when neglected, they may turn to crime, migration, or urban poverty. This module places youth at the center of agricultural transformation.